Making money on YouTube as a game developer.
Like, if it's not going to stand out, you're basically taking time away from the development of your game just to work solely on, a YouTube video.
YouTube and game dev hasn't really been on my mind. I've lost pretty much all motivation to do it.
You guys have that hopeful path of like, once I get monetized, it's going well. And me and Max are dead inside being like, it's shit. You don't make any money. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
You're getting sponsors. You're getting brilliant.
You definitely feel like, oh man, like why me? There's so many other guys doing great jobs, doing cool stuff out there. Why would anyone sub or watch my stuff?
In my head, I'm thinking like, I feel like this guy can't really evaluate himself. Sorry,
I didn't say anything.
I know, you just keep making a motion.
I'm waiting for you to say something mean and hurtful. So
No.
And I saw that and I was like, oh my god, I really want to buy that. Like, as a game developer, I really want to buy that.
I don't know if we should talk about this, but that's what happened to that one guy who made that game.
I did not know this.
I feel like we should not talk about it.
Listeners, there's something you don't know about. Henry's cutting out stuff, listeners. Right. Yeah, it is weird, huh? Okay. This is the Overscoped podcast. My name's MZF, and then to my left here, I have Maxi.
Hi.
I have Henry.
And I am Kobe.
And we are a bunch of indie YouTube game dev guys, and we talk about random stuff on here. And how are you guys doing today? What's going on?
I'm doing terribly. My cat died. I don't have a cat. I'm doing fine.
Oh, okay.
Bro, Jesus.
I'm doing completely fine.
I was about to say, bro.
No, it's a fresh start to the day. Woke up and ready to rumble, as the kids say, right?
It is weird. We're all on the most random time zones ever. So you just woke up. Maxi's at like 3 a.m., right? And then me and Henry are a lot closer.
Having breakfast at 3 a.m., yeah.
He's built different. We went over this, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
So
what are the topics for today?
Yeah, the very first topic we're going to jump into was making money on YouTube as a game developer. Maxi, how do you feel about it? Where are you at in making money on YouTube as a game developer? And what are your thoughts?
Well, I already made quite a sum. I made like $200 with one video.
Oh yeah.
And that's it, yeah. And Patreon, I think I made a couple $100 as well.
On Patreon?
I think
Nice.
also like 200. But yeah,
Cool.
I still try to figure out how to make money. The obvious way is obviously to release a game. But
Are you working on a big plan that you're gonna release a game for like some money?
I mean, would have done it obviously. In October.
You have a date and everything?
I feel it. Damn,
that's serious shit.
Yeah.
I feel like you told me this before, but I just don't remember.
Henry's not a good friend. Yeah, I understand that. I told my birthday. He didn't remember that either.
Yeah. I mean, you Henry, you spend a lot of time thinking about this recently. I know, like how to make money.
No, not really.
This guy's lying.
I feel like recently I've been like stressing out because I want to put out a game on Steam, right? But Steam, it costs $100 to put it out. But that's not the only expense. Like Steam, like reading through their documentation, they really want you to have a business, and you can't you can just put it on Steam without like starting a business, but then like if things happen and things start to move really fast, you're going to be really slowed down. Like things are going to come to a halt if you don't have a business. So you have to set up a business. In my head, I think it's...
You mean like an LLC or whatever?
Yeah, an LLC.
For like tax reasons? Gotcha.
Yeah. Not even just for taxes, but like I was talking to this other game developer guy that we know, and he was like, yeah, if you like get approached by some other business, they will expect you to have that all set up, or else like deals could like fall completely for your game. So in my head, it doesn't make sense to... In my head, it would be better if I could just have a business and then like before I launch anything official on Steam, and that costs money, you know?
Well, I said beyond Steam, is there any other avenues you're looking towards? Because I know you and Kobe are both on your path to getting monetized, right? And then me and Maxi are monetized. Yeah. So we have like that, you guys have that hopeful path of like, once I get monetized, it's going well. And me and Maxi are dead inside being like, it's shit. You don't make any money. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting sponsors. You're getting brilliant.
That's true, bro.
It literally is just, it maybe can pay for groceries. Maybe if I'm lucky, it's a very small amount of money. But I mean, I guess you negotiate that stuff. So I negotiated very low because when I did my brilliant, I did a brilliant sponsor for 3 different videos. And I did that negotiation when I had it was almost exactly how many subs you have, Maxi, like 4,000 or something in there. And I just said yes to whatever they offered me. I was like, oh my God, I've never had a sponsor. I was hoping, I just finished the last one. I was hoping when I finished it, they'd be like, we'd love to re-sign you up for a bigger deal. It's been radio silence. So I don't have a lot of hope in a lot of that stuff. But how do you guys feel about getting closer to being monetized and that whole pathway?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a goal, I guess. Hitting 1K subs is pretty cool, and then I guess getting the watch hours in. But I'm definitely not expecting to make money straight away unless I have like some viral video. But honestly, lately, YouTube and game dev hasn't really been on my mind just because I've lost pretty much all motivation to do it.
Seriously?
Yeah, I've lost pretty much all motivation to do it recently. Except for the podcast, I've been excited to record this one. But,
podcast about YouTube and game dev, which is
yeah, yeah, it's a bit
what
weird.
Killed your motivation? What's going on?
Well, honestly, I just started uni like 2 weeks ago, and recently I've been like putting a lot of focus into organizing and stuff like that, using Obsidian that this guy told me about. But like, I just think I found a lot of enjoyment in organizing and really setting out like notes and stuff like that for the future. But like,
You follow love in organizing?
shut up, bro. Shut up. I'm sure a lot of people do as well. Who doesn't like organizing, chests in Minecraft, right? It's the same thing, basically.
Well, fair enough.
I generally feel pretty down on making money in this place, and there's a couple of reasons why. I think part of it is because it keeps growing, and the more something grows, the more, well, it has positive effects for sure. You get more people interested in watching, but you definitely feel like, oh man, like why me? There's so many other guys doing great jobs, doing cool stuff out there. Why would anyone sub or watch my stuff? But that's a trend in all my videos. I always feel that way, like, oh, I don't belong here or whatever. But yeah, it feels like it's going to get more competitive. And it makes me wonder, like, what are the pathways to coexisting with other, not just YouTubers, but other game developers, where, like, we can all sort of have some kind of living and potential, like, that the dream is obviously just, like, quit the full-time job, and at least for me, quit the full-time job and finally do this as a real, not a hobby, right? Because as a hobby, it's too much. I don't understand any people that are like, I have a great job and then I just do this. I'm like, this is so much fucking time. Like, the YouTube and the game dev it's like 3 hobbies put together.
It's insane, yeah.
I feel like that's one of the main things that's been holding, not the main thing, but it's like holding me back mentally, is like, I'm not seeing any money come out of this, so it doesn't feel like real, and I think that's one of the reasons why I'm like looking to get monetized as a goal, just because like as soon as like some money starts to come in, it feels like, oh man, like I could actually make something here, you know what I mean?
For me, for the most part, I just put all the money aside because I'm scared of taxes and I don't want to like think I have money I don't have. So literally everything is just set aside. So it doesn't really feel like I have it.
Yeah. I have that same concern. I feel like I don't know how taxes work in other places, Australia, Germany.
Yeah, we just don't pay taxes. It's just a suggestion, really.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
Comes over and
I'm just
knocks
kidding,
on your
bro.
front door.
Yeah, no,
We
the
just
kangaroo
put our money
man
in
will come.
in a Swiss bank account, and that's it.
Is that a felony? What are you describing?
Just
right
kidding.
Just kidding. For the lawyers out there, just kidding.
I also wrote this down. I think this is interesting because Maxi went right for the selling your game, and I think a lot of the YouTube guys don't even consider that. It's not even a lot of the most successful guys. It's like selling the game is such an off the beaten path way. It's like maybe the game never even comes out. It's not even how they're going to make their money. So I think that is like a big fork in the road for a lot of us. It's like, are we making a game and are we selling it? Because to be frank with you, anyone watching our videos, they don't want to buy the game. Like maybe Maxi's different, but a lot of people watch me. They want to know how to make games. And Colby, you're doing tutorials, and Henry, you're not tutorial based actually at all. You're more about making projects. But still, I feel like a lot of people that watch game dev YouTube, they just want to make stuff and they want to watch in between making stuff. They want to watch people make things, but they don't necessarily want to buy them. Yeah, which is always kind of spooky.
I think I can pull up a statistic for you.
I don't know if I agree with that, but I think it's cool. Like if you see somebody making a game, it definitely incentivizes you to want to purchase it at the end.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is the same argument that this other YouTuber that we know had about like people aren't like pushing to like launch their game. And I don't think that's true either. I think it's just really difficult to make a game, like it takes a long time.
I think it depends on how broad you go to, not to interrupt you, but certain YouTube guys are like, I'm making The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time in Unreal Engine. You're never going to sell that. That's not even meant to be sold, right? So that's sort of the farthest end of that spectrum. And then there's closer ones that's like, I guess it's a game, but like, or my game jams. I'm never selling a game jam. I'm just building an audience.
Yeah, I feel like with me, there's like two different types of like content where you have like that one that you're talking about is a game jam. It's like just the purpose of that game creation is to make a video out of it. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. But then there is like also the actual game that, you know, we're working on that we do plan on selling out. I mean, you have that too, right? Like the Far Gone Frontiers. Yeah.
Yeah, I have my own project, but the more as maybe yeah, I don't know. My brain has to settle on these thoughts, but I do think that as more YouTubers you get successful as YouTube, you sort of like push away the developer side because you lean into where you're seeing sort of success. In the same way where you're saying, if I was seeing money out of YouTube, I'd be way more motivated. I think a lot of these guys, once you start seeing money, you're like, yeah, fuck it. Like, why? The biggest one, like if you look at Danny, like he never released that game, right? So a million reasons could be why that happened, but he saw an incredible amount of sense as a YouTuber. Well, and as a developer too, right? Because he had a million wish lists. So I don't know. There's probably reasons why that went the way it did.
Yeah, I think there was well, before we get into that, there was a stat that Maxi was going to talk about.
Yeah, I was waiting.
Yeah. On my Discord, we made a poll: who is a game dev and who, you know, just is interested in the game because it looks cool, who plays a lot of small games, and only 50 people said they're a game dev, and 130 people said they thought it looks cool, and 104 people said they just play a lot of small games and that's why they're interested.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not mainly game developers in my audience, I believe.
I would say it probably ranges audience to audience, but that's a really interesting stat for sure.
I think it's interesting because I was watching your stream yesterday, Zeth, this
Hello.
guy streamer. He sorry, you
I didn't say anything.
I know you just keep making a motion.
I'm waiting for you to say something mean and hurtful. So go ahead.
No. I was gonna say, I feel like you're like very talented visually. Like you make a lot of cool art stuff that looks really cool. And you say you're not good at,
I was waiting for the butt. Like,
But you're
great
shit
visually,
at programming.
but it's not. I saw the code and I was very embarrassed.
No. I actually, that's another thing. I don't know anything about your code because the way you talk about your own art is very like down. And I was like, I don't know why you say those stuff because I think your art looks sick. It looks really good. So maybe in my head, I'm thinking like, I feel like this guy can't really evaluate himself.
Maybe.
Like, well. So I don't even know if your code is bad either. Maybe your code is good too.
Nope. No. That I am 100%. Because you can make good art without going to art school, but if you make code without going to code school, wait, that kind of fell apart. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like there are practices you learn that's like, okay, you can't like fake. Anyway, go ahead.
I saw that a lot of your viewers and people that were in the call with you, they were like also like really talented, and I don't know why that is, or maybe that's I'm not saying that. Well, actually, I am saying that. I don't know why, because I feel like I don't see that same amount of talent in. Like, should I not say that in my community? Is that bad to say?
You're gonna have different demographics, but I know what you're saying, because it's like you're not. It makes it sound like you're saying they're not talented, but they aren't maybe game developers, right? They aren't showing off art and code, right? Is that what you're saying? I don't know.
No, they're not talented. No, I'm just
okay. Well,
maybe it's because your community is just smaller. Like there's just less people. Yeah,
that's
that
true
is
too.
also,
Like if you're seeing 10 people in my community and there's a bigger, yeah, exactly. You're getting a small percentage.
Yeah. I guess that would have been another thing, but I feel like Maxi has a pretty big Discord also, and I also don't see a lot of people in his community like showing off stuff that they make, and I don't know if it's because of the stuff that you're producing.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, I think people looking for game jams are people looking to make a game and they want to see someone make a game in a quick amount of time. So it's going to be a different audience than someone's interested in maybe, I mean, I don't want to say RPG, but Max Your Game World Unlit, like depending on the type of game, it could grab an audience of someone interested in gaming more so than, no, you know what I mean? No one's Googling like, let me see a platformer you made in 7 days. How much for that?
Yeah.
Like, no. It's like, how do I make it is my audience. So that would make sense to me.
I think Maxi's audience is a lot more like, he already said it with a stat, but his audience is also a lot more of gamers as well, and not really like, or not, there's still are game developers, but not as much.
Yeah.
That could be just because of content he produces as well. And that actually reminds me of a video I saw recently. I think it was really aimed towards people who play games. I think it was like it was a year of game dev compressed into like one 12-minute video. So that I feel like aims more towards people who don't make games because it's not as detailed and it's more of like a quick overview. People are kind of interested in that side of things. I think it was for like, Getting Over It. It was like a remake of that one. Yeah.
Oh, the guy was that the Pontypants video. That's like a guy.
Yeah.
He
Climbing
made his own
it.
game. Yeah. Yeah. That was a great thing. But he's
And I saw that and I was like, oh my God, I really want to buy that. Like as a game
Yes.
developer, I really want to buy that. Yeah.
And he does a smart thing where he bookends his whole video. Like he starts with like, you can buy this right now. Here's my journey. Which gets you sort of into it because the whole time you're thinking like, yeah, like this is a real product. This isn't like so many of these YouTube videos we watch. It's like, we never even think about buying it. It's like, you're going to wish list it maybe, but like this is never going to be out or it might be out in years from now. So for him to stay like, he sort of, I don't know if he was showing the video or game for the first time or what, but it felt very much like, here's my experience making the game. Also, you can buy it, which is, you never see that. So
Yeah. I actually had a wish listed before the video as well.
Oh,
because of the trailer as well. It was like really, it's like, oh shit, that's so cool.
He really nailed the getting over it part. It looks so much like that game in a good way.
It does, yeah. Yeah.
How much did you say you said you made 200 from YouTube AdSense with a video, Maxi, and then 200 from Patreon?
I think I'm not sure.
Somewhere
I have one
there.
payout from YouTube so far. It was 200. I think I'm at $50 or something after that.
Do you guys have any like with a release game like on Itch, right? For one of your game jams, have you ever gotten paid for one
Never.
of those?
I've never gotten anything for it. My numbers are basically like, I don't know what the math would be because I'm dumb, but if like I'm just throw some numbers out there. If like 10,000 people watch my video, maybe 100 will play the game, and I've never had anyone give me any money for any of that. I've had a super chat on YouTube before. I've had itch.io give me any. I don't think I have any way for you to. I don't have any like account even set up. Like you can give me money, but it would notify me like, hey, you have money here. So that's never happened.
Well, that's so interesting because I feel like we did the math one day and there was like we had a 1% conversion to playing, like somebody watching a video and playing the games. And what you said, what was that conversion? You said 10,000 watch a video and then how many play?
I can look it up. I'm just guessing on numbers there, but it's always much lower than I thought it would be.
But
Yeah.
it sounded like it was less than 1%. Or
It may not be. If I bring it up now, it's gonna mess with my screen capture. But it was.
Okay.
It's basically very low, and then also it's gonna really depend. Like the very first time the video comes out, you'll see a bump, right? Obviously, and then it kind of really settles down because like the most passionate people are those first people to watch. The people who have subbed to me, they're more likely to play. But no, I don't think itch.io is viable unless you're asking for. I think you have to ask. I don't think you can have it for free and then hope people pay you. I don't think that's a thing. Maybe I don't know. Did that shotgun game make money? The one that's like roulette shotgun or whatever.
Oh yeah, but it was also paid.
It was
but-
paid.
Yeah, it was like $1 or
every-
$2 or something like
I think that's
that.
the way to go. And you hope.
yeah.
Well, if you're hoping for going viral, I guess that's the way to go.
Yeah.
I want to point out this
game-
too for the Google AdSense stuff. Kobe, you're doing something interesting where you're doing more evergreen content because you're just doing like tutorials where people are going to find your stuff years down the line, as opposed to like game updates or devlog updates where the newest devlog update is usually the most relevant to your game. First like 2 or 3 back is like, well, it's not new content, so it's kind of boring to watch.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting way to go about it.
I feel like I've done more devlogs than tutorials though, but recently I've been aimed more tutorials, I guess. Honestly, because I felt like making like a less effort kind of video. I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be helpful. And the editing is just so much less than a main video. So I was like, okay, I want to get a video out, but I don't feel like doing all the editing stuff this time. I just put a tutorial out. There's not too much thought past that, but I still do like devlogs. My most recent 2 videos have been devlogs as well.
You said
Alright,
doo-doo.
2 recent?
Got him.
Doo-doo. Fuck. I think it was just the recent one, and then one after tutorial. I don't know. I've been mixing it around. I haven't really thought about the upload times of it too much.
For sure. It feels like even within AdSense, there's tons of different ways to go about it. So it's a tricky path to navigate. I've come across recently, I think one of the interesting ways to break through the mold of just game developers watching your thing is to make more of a video essay. So we saw AIA do it with the water video where he's like, I think that it's even titled "Video Games Are Lying to You," and then like this water is fake. So it's not even, if you were an outsider looking at that, you're like, I don't even think he's making a game, right? It's just about how video games are a certain way, and I want to know more about video games. And then he ties it back into his game. And I think that's the really good way to capture an audience that had never heard of you before and might possibly want to buy your game. The hard part about that is the most intensive for editing, I think.
I'm scared to do something like that. Actually, I have done something similar to that with the whole like Unity stuff that was going on. I don't want to talk about it just because it's been talked about so much. But there was this other YouTuber who posted a video like that. It's this guy named Nivmiz, where he was talking about lasers in video games and like how they got their stylized look. And that video, I think it performed just as well as all his other videos, which is, fine. But
you want it to be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Like if it's not going to stand out, you're basically taking time away from the development of your game just to work solely on, a YouTube video, which that's the worry, like it can, if the idea is solid, it can be good. And I feel like that idea is sort of interesting, right? Maybe it was the execution or maybe it was a thought. I don't know what the issue was with that video, but that's always the fear. And I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that's tricky. And you're putting so much time and effort into it, and it feels like a bad expenditure of time. Because I think most of us, Kobe, I don't know where you are in games you want to release, but definitely feel like we're wasting time if we're editing too much, right? That more time should be spent on making a game. We want to be game developers. Yeah, which brings back to the fork in the road thing where releasing a game would be really important. So I guess probably all of us to some extent.
I feel like I set like a goal for myself, like doing a video every 2 weeks. And I felt like, oh, damn, I've done this much progress in 2 weeks. Now I've got to make a video about it. And it's like kind of forcing content, which, feels a little weird. It feels like I'm just taking time away from making a game. It's like I'd pause the game development for like 4 days just to do a video.
It sounds like we're all really, really negative on making money. It sounds really depressing, guys.
I hate making money.
Money. I made the most money out of everybody here for games. Yeah, but no, I'm talking about games specifically. I made $12, so.
Oh, selling a game like someone bought. That's true. I've never sold a game. If only someone would pay $13 for an itch.io, then I could be like, fuck you.
I'll do it now.
Any final thoughts on this topic before we move on? Anything else? Max, you got anything?
Nope.
All right. So, the other topic we want to talk about today is in this journey of making video games, a lot of us are doing it alone. I think everyone here is doing it alone, and it's kind of dumb to do it alone. Kind of doesn't make any sense until you work with a team, and then you get to experience the ups and downs of dealing with other people. So how do we feel about working in teams, with teams, in game dev? Where do we all feel about that? Henry, you want to start with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a different experience. I ran a couple of game jams. I didn't run them. I was like the lead for a couple of game jams. And as a lead, it's a lot of work to try to keep everything organized, where it's almost like a different, like separate job that's like almost removed from game development. And it feels
project manager.
Yeah, like being a project manager, it kind of, it's not game development. It kind of sucks. So I think the best way to go about it, I actually did it. Huh?
Sorry. Sorry. Go ahead. I bet Kobe likes it.
Being a project manager. Yeah, I did do this one game jam with this one artist. It was just me and her. And that one was pretty good because like I didn't really have to like manage her, right? She was like her own person. I just like, yo, this is what we need, and she was like, okay, and then we got it done, and that one ended up turning out really good. So I think if you wanted to work on a team, probably like a smaller number of people would probably be the best. But I think once you get past like four, even 3 people is a little bit tough, but like 4, you kind of have to separate that role of trying to manage everybody. And also the biggest negative of working on a team, and this is the reason why I think none of us are doing it, is because you lose creative control. Like,
It's true.
you cannot have 100% of it when you work on a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
How many game jams with big teams have you worked?
I think it was with big teams.
Only the one I've been in, or
No,
more? Okay.
it was 3. But one of them was just with the other voice actors. So, but that was like still like I had to do a lot of like figuring out like.
Because I feel like the one we've done together, there was like no one guy who had like the saying, who had like who was in charge and who just decided this is what we do. No, we had this entire voting process where, you know, we decided on what exactly to do. So there was not one guy with a vision who could just tell everybody else what to do exactly, you know. So I think that's why this didn't went as well as it could have gone, mainly. I've only been in 2 game jams with other people. The other one was with one artist.
Okay.
Riley, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you worked with them. That's cool.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, we worked on a week-long game jam together, and we did it in 2 days. And so yeah, but yeah, that was good because, you know, he's good at art and I'm good at the other stuff. So that was
Yeah, you're shit at
that was
art.
good.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
No, I would say like, yeah, I haven't really had experience doing it, so I can't really voice my thoughts. But I think doing it where there's only 2 people, artist programmer, seems like it's be the easiest to manage. I'm sure like a lot of people agree with that as well. Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I think working with a big team would only really work if you have a solid framework, someone else managing everyone's tasks. Like at a studio, like a AAA studio, and they've got like hundreds of employees, and then they've got like, I don't know, probably a lot of managers as well, working on distributing tasks evenly and stuff like that.
So I have a
think-
question for you. If you think that working with 2 people would be like the best way to go about it, why don't you do that? Why don't you find?
I don't have a second person. That's simply the reason. Like I don't have.
That's such a dog shit answer. We're full of communities of people. Like that can't be the real answer. That you don't have a
No,
second
I
person.
can't be fucked asking someone else. Yeah, no.
God damn, you Australians are built different.
Nah, I don't know. I feel like my project I'm already so far in. I've done most of the art myself. I'm like, yeah, I'll just finish it off like that. If I got an artist, like if I worked with someone and as an artist, it would be like so easy for them. They would just make art once every like few weeks. Yeah, like I just did rigging the other day and working on a model. I literally just downloaded a free asset, so and then I did the rigging myself in animation. So it's not actually that much art in my game. It's a lot of 3D models.
So I have some stuff here. So it seems obvious at first that the best way to do any kind of team, like big projects, not game jams, you can kind of fuck around and have like 4 or 5 people. I mean, maybe not 5, but you can kind of have a bunch of people. And if someone really isn't doing much, it's not the end of the world, because I don't know if you really need that many people to do a game jam. You're gonna keep the scope low anyway. But for making a real game, a Steam game, which I have no experience about, so I'm going to say with absolute certainty because there's a mic in front of me. It seems like having 2 people seems like the goated, that's like the best one. Because then you get to do the great separation of like, you're the art, you're the coding, together we're going to make millions. Here's the problem. And then you can license out some music because no one gives a fuck, right? Or hire, like, yeah, there's tons of musicians that like, even I'll get my email, an email will come through to me and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be a great sponsorship. And it's some guy being like, I write music, do you need music? And I'm like, no, I need money. I can't afford to pay you. But so anyway, you have the art and the coding, right? And then the big problem with just having 2 people, because you have to really think about it, I've had this kind of happen to me to some extent, is that there is a way bigger trust thing happening there. If one of your guys backs out, you are giga fucked. You're like super fucked, because if your one art guy who's doing all the art isn't there anymore, it's gonna be really hard to find someone to fill the shoes that has the same art style that's gonna want to do it. And usually when you're a 2-person team, you can have dual creative control. You can have a push and pull, and both people can be a little bit of game designers. But when you bring like another guy in to replace someone that left, they're gonna feel like, this isn't my game, I don't want to do this. And it kind of goes without saying, once you lose the coder, then you're really fucked, because the art guy is not gonna know even where to begin on how to find someone who can pick up this code, read it, work it. It's just done at that point. And I've been on that position where you're an art person working on a project and your code person leaves and you're just like, the project's dead is really what happens.
Yeah.
So, but that also does solve some of the problems that Henry said. He's like, well, why would I do a team game when I'm losing creative control? Well, in a dual person setup, you kind of get to keep some creative control. Sure, you have to push and pull and argue for your stuff, but you also have someone to keep you with checks and balances. Like, hey, that's a dog shit idea, and then you're like, well, now I have to prove to you that it isn't, right? Which you could do, right? So there's some kind of positives there. Like I said, the biggest thing is just trust. That's the hardest one there. And then when you start to add more and more people, I think you get a lot less back. Once you're starting to go 3, 4, 5 people, you have to have all this expenditure on how you're organizing assets, how you're interacting and communicating between people. I don't think that's ever going to be worth it. And then as being like the 4th or 5th person on a project, I'm going to feel like this is not my game. This is not my thing. I'm just here
it's a big difference if you just work with them, and they get, you cut the, they all get a percentage and they all have a percentage of creative control or whatever. Or if you pay somebody to, do the stuff. I think if you would have an employee, basically, or also a large team of employees, it would be a lot easier because it's clear I have the creative control. You basically do what I tell you to do.
But you have to pay. It's kind of like buying assets at that point, right?
Exactly. But I think that would be that would be totally possible to do.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
I don't have the money to hire someone. So
yeah, but once you start splitting creative control between like four people or something, it seems impossible to settle on design decisions, because then you're like debating it. You're like, oh, this is awful.
Everyone's got different ideas. Like even for the podcast, we have 4 people. We're like, how are we starting it? Oh, I thought we were starting it this way. I thought we were starting it this way.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to do more like this. Like with a simple thing like that. Well, it's not really that simple, but you can see that discrepancies will arise with more people. People are just going to have different views.
Also, the details fuck you real bad, because you'll feel like you all 4 will agree on a podcast idea and how it looks and how it's going to come together, or anything, mostly for games, right? And then a little detail will hit you like, no, it was going to be like this perspective, or it's going to be like this, or no, we would never have multiple weapons. It's only one. And then you're like, oh shit, we're not imagining the same thing at all. Like, oh shit, like we are in different universes. And then it's an argument or whatever. It's something that's preventing you from making the game is really what it is. Yeah. And then you either have to fall in line with someone even though you don't agree, or you have to do that push and pull, which is fine. Yeah. I personally think. Oh, go ahead, Henry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think the reason why my game jams were successful, where I was the lead, was because like everybody agreed that I was the lead. So like if somebody had a disagreement or something, and so like, let's just ask Henry, and then I would say, okay, let's do this, and they'll go like, okay, that's what he says, and then
that helps a lot.
Yeah. Just having one person. I feel like that's one of the reasons why the game jam didn't really work out with the one with me and Maxi, is because there was like almost 20 people, right? There was like 15 people in there. And then the guy, he was like the main guy.
And shit. I was just doing sound effects.
Yeah. I feel like it just wasn't organized, and I didn't feel like I had a person to contact to like if I was like, I don't know about this. Like, there's no source of truth,
Oh my God, you were setting me up perfectly. Where did you? Oh, now I just lost my train of thought on something. It was, what were you talking about? Hold on. You were talking about when you work with multiple people. Oh, I know now what exactly I was thinking. Yeah, and you set me up perfectly for this. Okay, so when you have like someone taking creative lead, like you said you were doing projects like that, and it worked out pretty well. But that kind of only happens for game jams, because like you can be kind of miserable for a week, not agreeing with the person leading you. But guess what? It's over on Sunday or whatever, right? And then you go back to being like, my own fucking game. Fuck you, Henry. I can ban you on Discord or whatever, right? Yeah, of course. But I would be willing to do that even for more than a week. I'd be willing to be like, Henry has a game idea. Sorry, Henry. Whatever. Kobe has.
You'd be willing to ban him for more than a week? Come on,
man. No. I'd be willing to back. I'd be willing. Shut the fuck up. All right. Let's say. All right. Both of you suck. Let's say Maxi has a game idea, and Maxi's like, all right, MZ, let's make a game. And I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna do your art because for some reason you want 2D pixel art. And he's like, listen, we're going to do it for 3 months. 3 months, I'm in. Even if I don't even agree with the game. It's like, he's like, I want to make the finals, and I've never played the finals, and I'm thinking, why make the finals when the finals exist? Whatever the theory is, right? It's a game idea I don't agree with. For 3 months, I think I would do that. I would have a shit time working on art and hoping that Maxi's German power overwhelms it, and the game's amazing. Whatever, right? But games take longer than 3 months, right? That's where I start to break down. It's like, I'm not going to do this for a year. I really am not. In like 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, that might be my limit where I'll like sacrifice my time, focus on something I'm not 100% certain for someone else's idea, and for no pay, right? We're just doing it because, we're out here making games. That's the hard part, that really, and that's why that works for game jams, but not for real releases, because you can't do that for a year or two, and then you're like, fuck, I'm going to be 34, 35, like, what are we doing? Yeah, so that's where it all kind of falls apart, I think, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think you have to give some creative control. I mean, you have to, if there's like a 2-person team, like.
But without creative control, you get so much done. It feels like a superpower when you're like, nope, do it my way. You're like, all right, fuck it.
Yeah, but yeah, the only way like that you can get that is if you pay them, right? Because then, but we're not in that situation where we can pay somebody, so I feel
or you have someone you just really believe in that has amazing vision. Even if you don't agree, you're like, I don't know, they have, or a track record, right? This guy just makes good stuff. And we did a game before and they were right about this or X and Y, but that's going to be so rare to find that.
I think if you have a track record, you also have money.
True, right? Because then you made a game, you sold the game, you can afford to pay people. Yeah.
We're talking about this hypothetical situation that is like almost impossible to be in. I think, if it's a 2-person team, it's like, you have to.
I think you just want to be with someone that you can. It's really important to have the level of camaraderie where you can disagree with someone, argue with them, and then they're not going to be like, I'll see you in a week. I'm not going to ghost you, basically. I think that's a tricky part, too.
There was, I was working on this one game when I first started game development with this one other artist. And she, this was for like an actual full game that we were working on. And I remember we had conversations about like, this is the idea for the game. We was like, okay, cool. And then I was like, okay, we should start doing some mock-ups for some ideas for the enemies, right? And then she was like, well, what kind of enemies are we going to have? I was like, I don't know. I was hoping we could talk about that. I was like, I can't really talk about it until I know the style. I was like, okay, the style. Oh, let's talk about the style. It's like, oh, we can't talk about that until we know what kind of enemies we have. And I was like, it was like this cycle. And it was like, this was a friend that I had known for years. And I remember one day she just like ended up ghosting me. And it's like, even though you know somebody, like for a long time, working with them is like completely different. And I think you have to, I would say you kind of almost have to start the relationship like that, like as a working relationship rather than friendship, because I feel like that interferes. Or I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah.
How would you feel about the dynamic of, because you never see this, or maybe you do and I just don't know it. I guess I can think of some already. But the dynamic of, because we said art and coder, what about art, coder, and YouTuber, right? Why does the YouTuber have to be the person making the game? We say this all the time, like, we aren't good editors. I mean, at least I'm not. And we hate wasting all the time doing that stuff. It's almost like if you have a YouTuber, you have like almost like not a publisher, a publicist, right? Someone that's being like, I can promote your game and put it on a platform. And I feel like no one really does that, though.
Very few. That's like, making a game for each, like, I'm not sure if that's in YouTube as well, but in YouTube Germany, there's at least one YouTuber I know of, biggest German streamer. He made a game, or someone else made a game, like a game for him. I guess or he paid someone to make a game with his name on it. His game.
I have seen that before.
Montana Black. And it's like the Montana Black game. It's like a mobile game.
I've seen something like that, totally different. But yeah, where it's like someone that has I don't know if this person would like that, but they have like a YouTube and a following, and they're like, hey, make a game for me.
Yeah.
And I'm the person that's like, the outward, like facing, like, I'm the person you could put it on the thumbnail where I'm doing the face with like the mouth open. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. That's the thumbnail. Henry, clip it.
Yeah.
Okay.
like as if Mr. Beast would like make a game, but he wouldn't like actually make the game himself, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But he would.
The Mr. Beast Battle Royale.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
I played Fortnite in real life with 100 people.
I'm pretty sure he has a game company, like the Mr. Beast Games. Something. I applied for a job there.
Oh, yeah, but I'm pretty sure it does exist. You're like, I think it might exsit, maybe. I did apply.
No, I'm not sure if it still exists. But
I got rejected.
You're like, I got fired.
No, they didn't hire me. Not surprised.
What do you guys think about working with teams? Is there anything else, any final words on working with teams? Anything we didn't cover?
I think if you want to find people, you should just join game jams and then see how that relationship works. And even if you end up making a successful game, you have to think about like the experience too. Like, because if it sucked but you still made a game, like it's gonna suck for the entire time you're making the game, like Zeph said. So
Yep.
find people through game jams. That's the best way, I think, my opinion.
Yeah, game jams are great.
That's a good
They
idea.
usually come with Discords. Like there's a Discord game jam, and then there's a bunch of people, and you can sort of like, you're way more likely to get on voice chat with them, see how they are, talk to them, and then like you said, it's always a professional relationship, so you aren't losing a friendship, or there's tons of stuff you avoid that way.
To be clear, I don't know if I lost friendship with her. I just haven't spoken to her since then. Like, but I don't hold any like really strong.
It's been 14 years. No.
It has actually been years since I talked to her, but yeah. And also like trust your feeling. Like if you think someone's like kind of like being shady, just don't work with them, you know? Don't do it, you know? For a game jam maybe. But if
No,
you
I
feel
agree.
like yeah.
Well, because you could get stuck in a situation where you spend a couple months and then you're like, well, now I feel like the sunk cost fallacy, where you're like, I can't. I got to keep working with this person. It's like, oh Jesus.
I don't know if we should talk about this, but that's what happened to that one guy who made that game.
I think I feel like we should not talk about it. like if he doesn't talk about it publicly.
Cut this out, listeners. There's something you don't
cut
know
it
about.
out.
Henry's cutting out stuff, listeners.
Well, we could.
He's
bleep,
like the CIA.
We could bleep the name.
Oh Jesus!
What do you mean? No. I mean, there's only one other
being
name,
honest.
right?
Listen,
Well, we
just
could-
DM me and I'll tell you everything, listeners. You just find
I
me on
mean,
Discord.
bleep the name and then ask him before, put it out or something. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, but that's what happened. Well, just to explain the situation, like we don't have to say names, but he.
But we already did.
Yeah, I mean, but he.
What happened?
He was like, "Yo, I was working with this other guy, and he was supposed to be developing like these levels or making the levels, and he ended up not doing like any work, or he did like a minuscule amount of work, and he still wants like 50% of the profits and whatever. And also he already put up like half of the Steam money to launch it on Steam, which is only $50, but like at that point it's like sort of like you have like a legal right to the property, even if you if you haven't worked on it.
Yeah, his dad was the one who is the legal guy for the Steam page because they're both underage.
Yeah,
Oh, seriously? I didn't know they were that young.
yeah. So they were.
So he was stuck with them, even though he was like not doing.
Whoever
doing
I don't know
anything.
whoever they are, how young they could be, because we don't know who.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of young developers out there
Yeah.
with
It
dads.
could be.
that are legally-
It could be Maxi actually. I'm talking about Maxi actually.
I'm not underage.
Bro, aren't you like 10 or something? I don't.
I'll turn 20
Listeners-
next year.
Yeah, you're like
Listeners,
10,
just
bro.
DM me. Okay, I'll tell you all the deets. All right.
This guy's 10.
All right. Well, I think that sucks, by the way, for whoever that is that happened to. But I don't know. Where are we at time, Henry? We have another topic if we need it. Otherwise, we could save it for next week.
We could ask the viewers some questions.
Where do I see the time?
Well, I don't know if you know this, but I'm not live, so there are no viewers and no questions.
We have
Chat.
50 minutes.
How do you feel about making money on YouTube? Do you like seeing YouTubers who do sponsorships and think, good on them? Or do you just say, fuck you, I'm skipping, and I'm not giving you any ad revenue, and I'm never listening. I'm gonna give you zero retention.
No,
or
that's
do
not
you
good. I personally, if you're asking
support?
me, Kobe, I rewatch the same ad multiple times, especially if it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I just replay it because I just want
Yeah.
to get smarter, and my brain is still growing.
put the video on 0.25 speed, right click,
It's so
and then
smooth
set
every
it to
time.
loop, and then leave
Yep.
that computer on for like the whole day while you're at school on 2 different
what I do.
accounts, and then give yourself heaps of watch time, and then get
I think
monetized like that.
If
I
you
haven't
like
done
making
that,
video
but-
games at all, yeah, that's what you should be doing. So,
We
what'd you say? Before we fall down that rabbit hole, where are we on time, Henry?
we still have like a few more minutes.
A few more minutes. So, do you want to
yeah,
get
yeah.
into this last topic here?
Yeah, we could talk about it. I feel like we could
Okay.
always.
We'll
cut
probably
down.
revisit this as we both get further, as we all get further into the medium, which is YouTube. Should
And
you get
making
into YouTube?
money. That's right.
No money. Stop. I'm hosting. Should you get into YouTube? Why or why not? You would think this be an obvious yes from 4 degenerate YouTube fucks, but I don't think it's going to be a unanimous yes. What do you think? Who wants to go first?
Fuck no.
I think
That's it.
maybe like I think doing Twitter is a lot easier, and
Yeah.
it still gives you the opportunity to have
Wait,
good
Twitter?
marketing for a game. Twitter, yeah.
Have you guys had
X, sorry.
success with? Yeah, no, I know. Have you,
mean
guys had
X?
success with
You mean
Twitter
X?
or X?
This guy has this story about getting reached out to a big company because of Twitter. This guy,
In
Yeah,
my
yeah,
screen, you're
so-
pointing to Kobe. So,
Maxi.
Maxie.
Yeah. so yeah. I made this video that flopped on YouTube. It got like how many?
At
It
least
got 500 views, less than 500 views, and yeah, I was kind of disappointed. But then I put like a highlight of this video where I talked to a stranger in the airport onto
I
Twitter.
love that,
and
by the way.
yeah, put it on there, and it got 10K views first of all, which is cool. But also, someone, the head of the Unity Insider team, the one who's
The Illuminati. Yeah,
exactly, the Illuminati of the
nailed it.
Unity Insider program. He saw that and he reached out to me and told me to apply to the Insider program, which then now I'm an Insider, Unity Insider.
You're a part of the Illuminati now.
He is.
I'm
part
part
of it.
of
That's
the-
why.
no,
He's,
no, no. So
that's why he's saying don't do YouTube. He's trying to keep us off the trail.
I'm trying to say that it's a lot easier to reach people on Twitter, and yeah, I feel like it's a lot less effort. You don't have to edit that much. You don't have to study the algorithm that much. All you gotta do, the Twitter algorithm, I feel like it's also a lot simpler than the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah.
You don't have to have thumbnails or whatever. You just have to make good posts, I guess. Maybe pay for premium or whatever, but I don't do that.
I wanted to ask, did you ever post that same clip to either YouTube Shorts or to TikTok? I feel like it would do well on
I
either
posted
of
it to
those.
YouTube Shorts. Wait, let me see how.
That had to do better than 400 something, right?
This did 2.3k views, so Twitter still outperformed that.
I feel like YouTube Shorts runs in like sections. Like it'll bring you to like the 1,000 mark, like the low thousands, and then it'll try again. Like
exactly.
it does these things where it stepstones you up depending on what's happening, your retention.
Oh, mine just
whatever
goes
it is.
like up and then
And
that.
flatlines. Yeah, and then I
Yeah,
feel like if I
exactly.
have a really good one, it'll do that again. And then I've never had like a third one. I think the third one's where I get rich and live on a boat or whatever. But that's never.
That's
Mine
never
is
coming.
just like
there.
a wall.
That's
Mine
where
is-
we get like $5.
Henry's like mine goes down. Like I'm like oh fuck.
Mine is a wall. It just goes up. It's like straight up, and that's it.
Nice.
Just keeps going up.
Yep.
Never falls flat.
Never.
That'd be
And
so
in the
good.
end, you make $5.
Yeah. You make like $13.50. You're like, oh great.
I was curious to hear why you started. I mean, I keep talking about the stream, but you talked about it a little bit on the stream about like how you started your YouTube just doing shorts.
Yeah.
Like, why'd you transition onto long form?
I sucked at shorts, but I didn't think that was the case at the time. I thought that shorts were like not going to grow a channel. Actually, to be fair, in our niche, I don't think anyone's doing shorts exclusively. Certain niches can do that. I don't think we can. But there's such a demand for that 10-minute video. Even to the point where I recommend if you have a 6-minute video, make it 8 minutes. I think you want to get over that. There's very few YouTubers where it's like Chalisad, a couple guys that can really nail it. And I think part of it is having the audience already. But YouTube in our niche really likes you to have a longer video. But I started with shorts because I hated editing. And I didn't really hate it. I didn't know how to. I didn't think I could. So the videos, I think the very first video is just me doing one take of talking and some video behind it. And then slowly you get more and more into like, let's make it good. Let's do a better audio compilation of me talking, like edit stuff together. But it still wasn't going anywhere. And then doing the first game jam, I was like, there's enough here where I think I could do a full video on just what this week was. And that's kind of the rest is history. But I was disappointed too with the first video, which is stupid because it was bad. The first, not short, but the first full video. I remember it got like 50 views maybe, right? This is my first ever YouTube video. And being like, man, that was so much work. Like I wish, and so much work, by the way, I did it in a day. It's very little editing. It sucked. But thinking like, man, like I really wish I did better. And then the second one I did like the same, like 50 or 100 or something. And I did a couple different things where I put some music behind it because the first one had no music. And I was trying to be more me, where I'm like, it still is not really me, but it's trying to be, right? And then like after a week, it just started to get views again. And then from there on out, I was like, okay, this is actually the way to go. Like it maybe at 100 and stopped. And then one day it just went to 1,000. And I was like, why did that happen? And then from there on out, it was like, okay, you have enough positive reinforcement to be like, all right, this is the way I should go. Sorry, that's a lot of info, but.
Do you recommend it?
So I think doing
Should you do
shorts
YouTube?
first is really smart because it lets you find your voice and you don't have to edit. I think editing, first off, video editing is actually in our format, as far as I feel like it, I feel like video editing is one of the lowest things that matters. It matters your voice, it matters the art you're showing, it matters the content, it matters your pacing. But if you don't have a lot of cool cuts and a lot of really intricate text flying on screen and meme stuff happening, no one really fucking cares in our medium. They don't. It just matters way more about your pacing, your voice, and the content. So
I mean, that is video editing. Or
yeah,
like
I guess so.
pacing.
But pacing in terms of like how, not how fast you're talking. I talk fast, but like how the pacing of your video, like how much are you talking about one thing? I'll watch, like, not to name any names, but I'll watch smaller YouTubers that have really great content. But I'm like, you should have cut 4 minutes here. Like, we didn't need to do this. And I don't think that makes you a better. No, not you. No, you don't make very. Henry. No, no. No one here. But yeah, I'll see people that's like, you should have cut this, but you don't have the wherewithal as the viewer to be like, no one cares that I got caught up on this thing and then I fixed it, or maybe I didn't fix it. Now I finally did fix it. It's like, no, you don't have to include any of that. It's just not.
Yeah, it's definitely me.
Wait,
But-
Kobe, you started off with YouTube Shorts also, right? Or like,
Nah.
no? I feel like
Nah.
when you first, when I was first made aware of you, I thought of you as like the shorts guy, because I went onto your YouTube channel. I felt like there was like a shit ton of shorts, like compared to everybody else. And
Oh, okay. Yeah, I felt like I tried to balance it evenly. And all of my shorts back then were just memes anyway, so it was like
I saw some
really,
of those, yeah.
Yeah, just meme type stuff. And I think I would only have had around 15 videos at the time. And I think about 7 of them would have been shorts, just meme shorts that I just thought of in the spur of the moment and made in like 3 hours.
Here's a real question.
That's the thing with shorts, easy to make. So if you're interested in doing YouTube, yeah, I'd agree. Start with shorts, try and do editing, and it's only like a 15-second to 1 minute video, so it's not too intensive. Doesn't take up too much time, and then you can practice editing on those. But yeah, back to the question: should you do YouTube?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Should you do it?
Yeah, if you don't, you could try it out. If you feel like it's more of a chore, then don't do it, because you gotta enjoy it to do it. Like, I'm sure not a lot of people like editing, but you might like other aspects, like writing the script or actually recording the video. So if that's the case, then I would say, yeah, go for it. But if you just don't enjoy it, you find that it's too much of a burden, don't do it. Just drop it.
If I wouldn't have made videos for so long, I think I would just do Twitter.
I was gonna say, are there like different places? I mean, I don't remember what guy. There's so many guys we watch and see in this community, and it's hard to keep track of everyone. But I saw one that was like making this gladiatorial, maybe I think an Unreal Engine game, and he released it on Steam, and it did really well. It was this whole build up. It's a long video. It has like 700,000 views. It's really, really good. I'd recommend you all watch it if I could remember the name. But it was like this gladiator thing, right? And I was astonished because this video has like 700,000 views, and if you go through the guy's channel, most of his work has like no views, like 1,000 or 1,500, and his pathway towards releasing a game on Steam was like, he did a little bit of stuff, but it really wasn't. He wasn't a YouTuber. He didn't claim to be or want to be, and instead I sort of found success posting onto like forums, but I don't remember which ones in the video. But I wonder if there's a path forward that way where you're sharing it, because really what you want to do with YouTube is you're trying to build publicity, because obviously we'd all be way closer to finishing our game if we didn't do YouTube, but then who the fuck would know about it, right? So that's like the weird trade-off. But is there any other option besides YouTube?
Like, there are games where it's exploded and they haven't done YouTube. Like the Shotgun Roulette game, they just released a trailer on YouTube. Lethal Company, they just released a trailer. I'm just trying to think of other indie games that have exploded at the moment. But like those two,
boom.
Yeah, I think Lethal Company is a good example.
I think it's definitely like, it's not hitting the lottery. Obviously, they put a lot of thought and time, they'd actually released 18 games previously. So you gotta like know what you're doing to get a game to be successful. But yeah, I feel like it's not required to make a game blow up. Yeah.
This
I
is
don't know.
yeah. I think that, well, back to the question is like, the question is like, should you do YouTube? I think like talking about like, oh, do you enjoy it or not? Like I think it's, in my head, it's not super relevant. Like the point of YouTube for me is to try to get publicity, is like marketing, right? To get eyes on the project that you're working on. So when you do launch it, it sells. And if you think of it that way, that to get that same amount of attention, you have to do something, right? Or your game has to be like special in some way. And even if you don't do YouTube as marketing, you still have to do some form of marketing for your game. Like I'm pretty sure both of your examples, the roulette game, Russian roulette game, and Lethal Company, I think they both like reached out to like streamers and YouTubers, right? And like gave them a copy and like tried to, and they had an established base, like an established audience, not on YouTube, but like in terms of like fans, you know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
For sure. Yeah, it does.
But
I
like
always
that's
view
not
those games-
necessarily YouTube. It's like it's just
No,
other forms of
no.
marketing. Yeah.
No, yeah. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying that it is another form of marketing, and
Yeah.
YouTube is just that, is a form of marketing. And the reason why I decided to do YouTube was because I already had experience with editing and with like previous YouTube channels. They weren't successful, you know, but I already had that experience, and I worked at YouTube channels before. So I was like, this, to me, it seems like such an obvious thing. Because you need marketing. Like that is something that you have to do. And even if you don't do YouTube, you're still going to have to do that in some way, unless you get super, super lucky. But you shouldn't like bank on that, you know? So, in my opinion, I think if you already have some skills that you need in order to make videos, and you're good at storytelling, I think that's probably the most important thing. YouTube is like an obvious thing that you should look at, but if not, I wouldn't like try to make a YouTube channel,
What would you do
you're
instead?
probably what
That's the hard
Maxi said.
question.
Yeah, probably
Twitter?
what Maxi says, like Twitter.
But can you get like wish lists from Twitter? Are people going to click off? And that's my fear, right?
I mean, okay, the example I always bring up is Lente. You know Lente?
I don't think I know it. No. What is
Okay,
it?
No, I'm not sure.
Lente, she's a Dutch Twitter user. She also has a YouTube channel, but this one doesn't work that well. So she basically only focuses on Twitter, and she popped off there, and recently she released a Kickstarter, and she got like I don't know now, but I think it was like 10K in like a day or something that she made for the Kickstarter.
That's insane.
So I think it's definitely possible with Twitter to do the
I
same
wonder if
thing.
you have to change the way you do your content drastically, because you can really do YouTube content as a self-absorbed developer, meaning that like you can show stuff that you're proud of because you made it. And other people that are developers can take value in that, but people that don't make games don't give a fuck. I wonder if on Twitter you're not posting like, "Hey, my inventory system works." Like someone that wants to buy your game is going to assume that works. Like, show me something cool, show me cool gameplay, show me things that sell games. I wonder if you have to switch gears drastically there.
I think I feel like Reddit, like you can also go down the Reddit pathway and Twitter. I feel like if you just make something like short form content on YouTube, it's going to be a little bit similar, but with Twitter especially, you're mainly just showing off something cool, something that like looks cool to the viewer. You don't necessarily need to be talking or anything. Something like a game trailer would be a super good thing to post on Twitter and Reddit and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
exactly. That's one
yeah.
post of her where she posted the trailer for her game's build, and she posted "Spilled Steam demo now available. Go try it now." And then the trailer and a Steam link to the demo.
Yeah.
And earlier it was like where she would post to where she would refer to her newsletter. So, you know, if you that's how she keeps you hooked, I guess.
Interesting.
You know, I was thinking about it. It's interesting that her game is like very like visually interesting, right? And I was thinking about like the people that find success or like people that are like really engaging. But I think like that visual interest also helps a lot. Like even if you're not super engaging, like Zeth.
Hello.
No. But you're obviously like the most successful out of all of us, and I think you have like the best visuals. Well, you don't think so? I mean, I'm talking in terms of numbers.
I think
guess, like,
Seth is also the most entertaining guy from all of us.
I can agree with that too. Yeah. But I think like a big part of why Loichi was successful was because it was also very visual. And for Zeth, I think that is like a big part of that is that your stuff does look good too.
It is sad how
unique.
much visuals really matter.
Just looks unique. I think that's the thing.
Yeah,
Looks
because
new.
you can ask like video game players, like, do you care about graphics? And they're like, no, I care about gameplay. But then you show them graphics and like, I don't care, right? So
Yeah.
it's a little dishonest sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes gameplay can really blow your mind, but it's just like you're starting from behind if your graphics, because you're not playing the game, right? You're watching someone play the game, so yeah, you want your visuals to really grab someone.
Exactly. Yeah.
I feel like YouTube might be a trap sometimes. Even though if you ask me this question, I would push most people towards YouTube. I think every day that fades. Like if I was 90% a couple months ago, I might be down to 75 in terms of like, do I think you should do YouTube? And the reason why there's so many great people out there, and like I get disappointed when I see really great YouTube content, and a guy doesn't have the subs and the follows or the views that I think he deserves. And you just realize how saturated everything is.
Yeah, it's so saturated. There's like anyone can create it, and I think that's one of the reasons why it's so saturated. Like a lot of people want to start, marketing. They see it as a marketing route first for their game, and then they kind of get stuck into it, and yeah, a lot of it is oversaturated. Just like YouTube in general, like so many videos out there. But yeah, should we wrap it up?
Yeah, one last thing I would say is that what pushes me over the edge, I might be down to 50% if not for this, 50-50 on whether or not you should do YouTube. The one last thing I'd say is like, if you have no place to share your stuff, do YouTube. Because you're probably going to lose interest and lose your passion. If you can't make your thing and put it out there, it's going to be years developing things, especially if you have a good idea, a strong game. It might take probably over a year. And so if you're really not sharing anything, it's going to make you feel dismotivated. That's my opinion.
I would say if you know how to make videos, do YouTube. If not, do Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter might be better for everything I just said there, because Twitter might give you better engagement for less. You don't have to edit stuff.
Yeah, and it's a lot less work to get that output of like getting that dopamine of sharing your stuff. And it's also like a very viable,
option
platform. Yeah.
Thanks, Elon.
Fair enough. All right, guys. Well, I think that concludes it for episode 1, I'm guessing, of the Overscoped podcast. So I guess we can go around. I think that's episode 1. Maxi's making a face at me like I just had a stroke.
Did we already make first episode? I don't know.
Well, it never came out, and Maxi, the listeners don't know about that, so you can't cut that out. Henry, fucking cut that shit out. Maxi, where can people find... Maxi, where can people
if you want
find
to see,
you?
we've got a Patreon.
Huh? In Germany? What do you mean? Cool.
Your YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
Bro.
I know.
Just go to Germany. There aren't that many people. You'll find Maxi there and high five him.
No, yeah. On YouTube. I guess it'll be linked. So.
All right. Well, we don't have to do any of that. It's just links.
Yeah, just put on links. Yeah.
Well, if you don't know, Henry is Veros Studios, because that's not a one-to-one thing. So you'd be like, who the heck is this guy?
Yeah.
And Kobe is Kobe Dev.
Just add Dev at the end. Yeah. Same with Maxi Dev.
Maxi
it's so
Dev.
original, right? It's so original.
Yeah.
That's all you need. And then mine is MZ_ETH, because it's a garbage name. Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you guys for joining me and answering all my dumb questions. And hopefully we'll see you guys soon.
Hopefully. Otherwise you guys are, gonna get in an accident. But yeah, we'll see you guys soon. What? You guys. And the audience.
I want to finish it. Can I say we'll see you guys soon? Wait, I want to. Yeah.
No. Wait, you're editing. I guess you could edit anything. I could be saying racial epitaphs. I don't know what you're gonna edit out of this.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
AI these days, right?